How's it going, everybody? Can you hear me? How's Wolfhound? Get this up here. So yeah, bit of a mad week again. They're all kind of mad these days. Like I suppose we've kind of surpassed the real crazy to the just the other side altogether. But can you hear me out there? Because I did change around a few settings there, so maybe I don't know if the microphone's working. Let me know. But yeah, the idea for this stream is just I'm going to go through a bit of that program for government and kind of general stuff that's happening. There's been a couple of stories, like, so I'm going to just go through them for a while. The program program for government, I reckon they're going to have to spend 6 billion as the as a stimulus package now that's coming in because of COVID. I'm just kind of wondering, is it taken out of the Brexit stimulus package that they were planning, or well, I suppose it's all just borrowed money anyway at the end of the day. Like, but is it on top of the whatever 20 billion they were going to use? Or, but yeah, the pension age, they've decided to put that back. I think that was probably Fianna Fáil's like main contribution to things. They were like, oh God, lads, you can't be doing it. But yeah, Micheál Martin Taoiseach until December 2022, and then Varadkar again. Like, he's setting up a unit in the Department of the Taoiseach to work towards a consensus on a shared island. So yeah, they could have been doing this 20 years ago, like, and God knows what kind of crack they're going to be on about. Like, I'd hate to see a discussion between Fianna Fáil, the Greens, and the fucking DUP. Like, that would just be my idea of absolute hell on earth, now, to be fair. But Taoiseach, our old friend Leo here, he's still here, and Department of Enterprise, Trade and Employment. So as far as I know, that's him in charge of the civil service, so he can get his 20% or whatever he wants of foreigners working in the civil service to start with, the diversity quota. And then, of course, Department of Climate Action, Communications, Networks and Transport, Eamon Ryan. Like, glancing over it, I think he's basically going to be doing most of the stuff, like, that the government are spending on. Well, only for the fact it's Eamon Ryan, I'd be kind of worried. Like, but he's a disaster merchant of a man. Like was some of it 10% of the total transport budget is going to be used for cycling projects, and another 10% is going to be used for pedestrianised areas, which kind of I wouldn't really mind too much, really, like, because well, if it was done right, like, because like a lot of them like greenways and stuff like that, like, they're on about doing up the Enniskill and the Sligo, I think, greenway, which would be fantastic, like, because you can barely get a car up that road anyway. It's such a, even if you're coming through Manor Hamilton or through Bundoran, it's an absolute death trap of a road. But sure, yeah, let's get people cycling around it. It's kind of cart before the horse stuff, I think. But yeah, they're if they would use local quarries for materials and let local workers, because like literally it is just a dumper truck, a digger, and maybe a roller if you're putting tar on it. There's not a whole pile of machinery you need, like, and a local company could do it, but I guarantee you're going to see some big massive company like BAM or someone coming in and 100-ton dumper trucks and stuff like that, like, pouring out a wee bit of gravel. It's that seems to be the tradition in this country anyway. It's kind of a bit of a disaster. Like, I would really improve it would really improve things if on narrow back roads, if they would just put in a little bit of a lay-by, half a lane wherever it kind of fits along stretches of road that people can actually get past each other. Like, the old donkey and cart. Like, I'd love to see it coming back myself. Like, but I think people are too kind of fond of the cars at the moment, and good luck to the Greens. They're going to have to fairly tax people to death to get them out of them, because I won't be getting out of mine for a while anyway. But they're looking to ban petrol and diesel cars and the import and sale of petrol and diesel cars by 2030. Like, that's mental. Like, I can see a lot of rural people just going to lose the head altogether at this year, which kind of suits me, because it's kind of like the last couple of years I've been like, come on, somebody notice. Like, it's like, it'll never get that bad. It's like, yeah, well, they're swinging into action now. Like, so it is, unless something is done pretty rapidly, it's going to happen. Like, yeah, the county councils as well. They have to appoint someone, or they're going to have to appoint someone in charge of cycling, which I think is kind of funny, really. Like, you know, it reminds me of that book. It's a great book, actually. I'm going off on a tangent here. The Third Policeman. You know, is it about a bicycle? It's a brilliant book. It's meant to be the first masterpiece of postmodernist literature, and if it just stayed there, you know, if it didn't go into politics, it would have been great. Like, you know, because it is one of my favorite books. Like, but it's a farce set in like, or like, you know, some like a time period that could have been the 1700s up until the 1920s. You know, that kind of. And there's like a magical guard going around the place, and there's, you know, it's like a fella walking around with no name, meeting the king of the one-legged man, and all this kind of crap. It actually is a fantastic book by Flann O'Brien. If you haven't read it, it's not too long. Like, it's an enjoyable read. It's a bit of a mind fuck, like, but I find it enjoyable, at least. Like, but anyways, back to business. It's you know, they're going to start changing the planning laws again, and they're only after changing the planning laws. I was chatting on Twitter about this earlier, and they've already banned chimneys. I thought that was common knowledge. Like, there's workarounds to it. Like, you can once you get your house signed off by the whatever fire marshal or whoever, the electrician and the plumber, you can put a pipe out the side of your house and put a stone or a stove in there. But the problem is that you know, technically it's illegal. Like, you can't have a proper fireplace in your house anymore. Like, I've seen fellas putting fake chimneys on their house and stuff like that because they just look weird. They just look like big boxes without a chimney. Like, so they're going to start tightening that down again. Like, and I've heard a few things about it, but I haven't actually heard any of the solid details. Like, but I think they're looking at moving towards passive housing, which is just ridiculous. Like, because passive housing, it's like, yeah, if you're a multi-millionaire and you want something shiny, you get a passive house. Like, but if you're a normal person, you don't. Like, it's a bit crazy. Like, you know, there's a lot of things you can do to cut down your energy bill to zero. Like, my favorite would be, you know, plant a lot of trees near your house, like a lot of ash trees. But I suppose they're all dying off now because they brought in all them Dutch trees that had that dieback on them now. Like, but, you know, poplar or something like that you can, or even willow is an excellent firewood if you have a shed. Like, I always thought it was a bit oxymoronical, like that. Yeah, willow like grows in wet ground, but it's like the best. It's calorific wise, like, it's the best stuff of the whole lot. Like, but yeah, so plant willow if you're looking for timber, for burning at least. Like, old pine's no good. I'm kind of talking just out loud here, but let's see, what was this? Yeah, the petrol and diesel cars is going. That's going to be like, what about tractors? Like, I suppose we'll get some kind of like, it'll be another, we're going to add 2 years onto it, you know, or while we're being taxed to death then probably for driving tractors. Like, and then other tractors, like, there's boys around here and the tractors will be going 24 hours. Like, you know, one boy hops out and the other fella jumps in, you know, during the good weather in the summer, trying to get second cuts in and stuff like that. And yeah, I'm mostly fearful of what's going to happen to rural Ireland in the next 5-10 years by the looks of it. Like, you know, it's the rubber, it has hit the road socially and it's about to hit it economically in the rural areas especially. Like, I know the towns aren't doing great, but, you know, it's kind of, Jesus, there's not, like, we're not near any kind of wealthy area, at least, where there'd be, you know, kind of at least a bit of a trickle over. Like, it's just kind of an all or nothing thing up here. But yeah, the Department of Finance and Department of Public Expenditure, I just kind of roll them into one. Like, I still can't really figure out why a country as broke as we have has two finance ministers, but maybe that is why we're broke. Like, well, I suppose that happened a wee bit after, but it's the same fucking thing. It's they're going to look at the pension ages again, and Jesus, if the world was right, they'd be going down the way, not up the way. Like, but, you know, there's fellas like working age boys now that's trying to build houses and stuff, and they're like, oh, you know, like they're copping on, like, oh, I have to work till I'm 68. Screw that. Like, so I don't know, trying to convince them that, Sinn Féin isn't going to help you is probably like, people are just kind of warped into that way of thinking at this stage, I think. Um, yeah, a commission on welfare and taxation, and the quote is how best the tax system can support economic activity. So basically, how much can we tax them before they break? How much can we spend? It's just, it's pretty brutal reading, like, really. Department of Foreign Affairs and Defence, Simon Coveney, couldn't care less about him at this stage. Like, so his family seems to be like the Illuminati of Ireland, like, so couldn't even be bothered. Department of Education, Norma Foley, she's been getting a lot of what's the word? Getting given out to, basically, by pro-rabid abortionists kind of things. She's a pro-life woman from Kerry, and I kind of, hopefully she doesn't do terrible. Like, I would hope that she would do well, because she's a rural girl herself, like, and fairly trad by the sounds of it. Like, so hopefully the LGBT stuff in schools and all gets pushed back, at least till someone that's willing to, have a hill to die on kind of thing gets in there, or if we can manage it. And then the Department of Children, Disability, Equality and Integration. There's a load of big buzzwords for you. Apart from children and disability, I suppose. But equality and integration, that came from the Department of Justice portfolio last time around, that Charlie Flanagan had. So this is the DP centres we're talking about. They're saying the DP system will be abolished, new models of community engagement to ensure that the establishment of new accommodation is done in an inclusive and welcoming fashion. That's nebulous as all hell. It just sounds like they're going to be setting up loads of, Fingal says no to racism crowds, like, which is probably where half of the bloody budget is going anyway, to be fair. But it's Roderick O'Gorman, so we're 2 for 2. We got a lesbian last time and a gay this time, looking after kids in the country. I don't know. I can't see the logic in that. I don't think any regular person can see the logic in that. It's like there's bound to be someone, like, maybe Norma Foley would have took that, like, then again, you wouldn't want to have in the education one either. And then the education, like, it was split in two, wasn't it? It's Simon Harris now is in charge of higher education. It's like, how? It must be like, he was so good at, like, photocopying, or he was really, really good at, like, sitting in a tea room or something, that they just thought, Jesus, yeah, that's like his natural environment, So I don't know. There's Roderick O'Gorman. What was it? He was green before he was gay, or was it the other way around? It was the only phrase I ever heard him say, like. But I wouldn't be holding too much hope from Barry Cowan, Minister for Agriculture and the Marine. That's a write-off. We're doomed. I'm gonna, like, I was looking out today on Agriland, and it's, get this for digits, right? I'm a suckler farmer, right? And on average, 160% of a suckler farmer's income comes from subsidies. Wrap your head around that one. We're paying to go to work. That's how bad agriculture is in this country. The only people that is making money not from subsidies in this country is the dairy farmers and a couple of tillage farmers. And why is that? Because the dairy farmers are selling for, so that the Chinese can have condensed milk. So the market is just it's as big as they can, like, too big for them to handle. Sheep farmers, their income is completely subsidized. The tillage farmers, like, then they'd be like, nearly all the oats in Ireland would be like going towards Flavin's oats, and any of like a lot of the wheat and all that kind of crack, anything like that, barley, that all goes back into feeding, like, dairy cattle. It's propping up the dairy industry is propping it up now, like. And during for the lockdown, Larry Goodman, the beef barn, he Simon Coveney's uncle-in-law, so his factories got hit because there was so many foreigners. All, most of them probably packed, living at least like 6 to a room in different towns all over the rural Ireland where they'd be living. They all started getting hit with COVID, so it was factories started getting hit. And this fella's worth 3 billion quid, like, and he was getting 150 million euro to prop him up, like. It's a complete scam at this stage. Like, there's no other way, and farmers know it too. Like, everybody knows it, but it's just a case of lighting a fire under them, that there's some to do something about it. Like, everyone gives out about the farmers, but like, whenever you're paid, like, the average income for a farmer, suckler farmer, is 24,000 euro. Like, that's not a big pile of money to be getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning calving for, like. It's like, a lot of them are kind of like, how the fuck do I get out of this at this stage? Like, just fellas fucking, most of the farmers in this country are about 50 years of age anyway. They're fed up. And their kids then, they hit whatever, 18, 20, and they're away to Dublin. And then they're back and they're in the rat race. That's it. Like, they're gone. A lot of them aren't coming back. So, yeah, agriculture and the marine, the fishermen are screwed. Like, they've been getting screwed this long time. The best thing they could do at this stage is what they done down in Dingle whenever them French and Spanish boats tried to land, is just fucking block them. Don't let them land in Killybegs or wherever, fucking Castletown Bay or Dingle, whatever. Just stop them, because at this stage they're like, it's just apathy. They're just watching themselves fucking wither away. Like, farmers are the same really. Like, we were blocking the factories there last December, and really it would have been better if we crippled them. But the thing is that then we'd cripple ourselves in the meantime. There could be whatever 12 or 24, 36 months, and there'd be cattle starving on the side of the road. Like, that'd be about as well as our government would handle the fallout of that. But the Minister for Justice, this is the big one for people talking on YouTube anyway. I seen there today Stefan Molyneux, American Renaissance. They both got taken off YouTube, which is a crying shame, because Stefan Molyneux, like, whatever, I don't agree with him and everything, and I wouldn't be watching all his videos, but he was good. Like, like he done a great video in Ireland 2040. Like, that's where a lot of people got all their information out of, was what he covered in that. Like, you still see the screenshots of it flying around on Twitter and stuff like that. People still use them. But he's been booted now, like Richard Spencer. But Jesus, to be honest, like, I tried to listen to him once, and it's just absolutely terrible. He's egotistical, I think, is the word. Like, just an insufferable yank, I think, is the proper term, the technical term. But yeah, Department of Justice. So they're looking to bring in hate speech laws anyway, and they're looking to change the Incitement to Hatred Act. So that would nearly worry me more than anything, because sure, anything could be, like, whenever they're redefining it, incitement could be anything. It could be any mild critique at all, like, which is what we were expecting, really. But we're gonna have to be smart, like, someone, like, we're gonna have, like, I'm not telling people to self-censor, like, but I'm kind of thinking along the lines of moving away from, I don't know if moving away, but kind of rewording things into, like, say, like the likes of Black Pigeon Speaks, or like even the Iconoclast is gone at this stage, like, but he was kind of going a bit further, a bit more, is the word agrarious or something? Egregious. But yeah, it's a tough one. Like, once they stop you talking, sure, what's there left to do? Like, JFK, I think it's his quote anyway. Those who make peaceful revolution impossible, that one. So yeah, I don't know, it's a crazy one. Like, they're on about CCTV, and this is a different one now. Well, they're doing a 9-month audit on domestic, sexual, and gender-based violence. So, like, yeah, definitely domestic violence should be cracked down on. Like, but the thing is that I think, well, I'm not saying it's all, but there's quite a large discrepancy between, like, say, the settled community and the travelling community. Sexual violence, like, then again, there's another minority in this country that they do fly their flag outside the GPO. and it would outweigh the average Irish person far more heavily on that. I'm not saying, you hear all, like, you know what I mean anyway. Like, it's not, oh well, we did nothing wrong. I'm just saying there's minorities that are a lot worse that aren't going to be fucking targeted by this, like, and then gender-based violence, and it's like, is that like making misogyny illegal or something? I don't know. Oh God, they're so, like, it's so broad, but it's going to be just a complete mess. Like, what other way are they going to do it? Like, but yeah, they're doing a cross-border cooperation. So basically, Helen McAtee and the MI5 fella are going to be working with MI5 on a couple of projects. Like, they're a cross-border cooperation on crime, including information sharing. So yeah, like that's like basically, I don't know if any of the listeners would have listened in on how nationalists would have been treated back in, like, say, the 80s or 90s. Well, pretty much throughout the whole of Irish history. Like, but there was a murder up in Tyrone called the oh God, his name's gone out of my head now. He was a solicitor. Oh jeez, I cannot think of his name. That's a pity. Oh Jesus. Well, anyways, what happened was he was a solicitor, and he was at work one day, and it got to about 8 o'clock in the evening or whatever, and this crowd called the Glenanne gang busted in his front door of his house. His wife was at home, I think, like she was pregnant. I think she had like 6 or 7 children in the house with him, or in the house with her. And the Glenanne gang went in looking to shoot the solicitor because he was a nationalist, defending a nationalist in a court case that the Glenanne gang didn't want getting away. Like, so they went in and just shot her up, and yeah, she died anyway. But the children, the car pulled up the driveway, the father and the children, the 2 eldest sons or whatever, ran out, and they were like, oh, daddy, some bad men shot mommy. And this is a wild, sad story, by the way. Like, I'm sorry to put it down on things, but this is the kind of shit, like, that's going to be overlooked, and it should never be overlooked. It's O'Hagan, that was her name, the O'Hagan murder. And yeah, it was like, oh, mommy's been shot, but she's all right, her eyes are open. It's like, oh Jesus, boys. Like, and that's what our Department of Justice was covering up. Like, the guards knew all about that. Like, they knew about multiple murders. In Monaghan, there was a farmer murdered. South Armagh, there was another fella, and it wasn't uncovered. There was a murder in South Armagh of a nationalist who went into his house. The Glenanne gang again went into his house and shot him, and it wasn't found out until after 3 inquiries, and it was only found out about 3 or 4 years ago that the police had imprint of a British Army boot outside the house the day that it happened, like, and they only found that out 3 years ago. There's some serious skeletons in that closet, like it's just like Department of Justice, like, it's like it is like 1984, like the Department of Truth, that kind of thing. Like, and no love for these. Like, the Department of Justice, you think Momo's fucking father tapping people's houses, like, sick of them. But anyways, they're bringing in, for that cross-border thing, they're going to do an inquiry on the Dublin Monaghan bombing. There's plenty of fucking what's the word? Collusion. That's the buzzword. But no, just bad hooers on both sides, killing people that were trying to do their best. Like, that was just that was all that was. Like, whatever way they want to politicize it or whatever. I hope whoever's surviving, I hope they all get their rope, tell you the truth, for the damage they done. Like, but anyways, yeah, Department of Social Protection, Heather Humphreys, she's in charge of rural development now. Like she's got social protection, community, rural development, and the islands. Like, she's gonna, like, I think that's too broad, tell you the truth. But they don't give a damn about the rural areas anyway. Like, like, obviously if the Greens are in power, but yeah, all I can see about her is that she's bringing in a gambling regulator. That's all I can see about that. As the housing, Darragh O'Brien and local government, they're having a whatchamacallit, oh, what's the word, a referendum in 2023 or 2024, something like that. But that it's basically that any local authority can directly elect a mayor. You know, so now, like they're having a citizens' assembly specifically for Dublin to see what powers the citizens want to give this directly elected mayor, which is a recipe for disaster, in my opinion. Like the whole thing's a fucking bit of a disaster already. Like, but I'd I'd warrant that they'll make it a lot worse than better. Like, but yeah, especially with Chew getting in there now, like, you know, you get probably fucking, I don't know, some type of hate speech law specifically for Dublin or something like that if she got into that kind of power. Like, they're looking to build 35,000 homes a year, which isn't going to happen. And even if it does happen, that's still not enough. Like, you know, it'll take what? By the time of them, a site bought, planning gone through, ground broke, blocks up, finished. So the government will be over, like, they won't even be there. So I don't know where they're going to, where do you think they're getting these 35,000 homes? Like container homes, maybe they might manage, like. But yeah, they're looking to 10,000 social housing per year. 10,000 social housing per year. I didn't check, but like, how many immigrants are we taking in every year that's going on the housing list? Like, it's probably about that. You know, so yeah, like absolute drop in the ocean. But here, that's how they make their money. A lot of them, like someone said, that Darragh O'Brien, or he isn't a landlord, which is a change. But yeah, I can't see any of this making a dent in it at all. Like, you know, there's 100 million things you could do really, but just the idea that like building out further into the sticks, like, you know, or down around Kildare or whatever, you know, Adamstown kind of direction, whatever, build a new town out there and build a new town out here, they all end up turning out like Shannon and Tala. Like, you know, nobody fucking, you know, it's like you move there, and nothing against the places, like I know people from both of them and they're lovely, like, but it's just kind of like, Jesus, it's not. I wouldn't live there myself, tell you this, right? Like, then again, I wouldn't live in South Dublin either, because I think everyone's on top of each other. Like, even like the rich places, Dalkey and all. Like, fucking, I wouldn't take a free house there. Like, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, Departmental Health. This is the great one here. They're going to get Sláinte Care going, they've said, for the millionth time at this stage. They're going to basically start banning private work in public hospitals, which I think is probably fair enough. Whenever you think then, like the private hospitals like Blackrock and all, that's all Dennis O'Brien and Larry Goodman owned. You know, they'd be major shareholders in those operations, like, and yeah, the public, it's sliding away down. Like mental health, especially in this country, is absolutely fucking diabolical. Like everybody knows someone that's fucking hung themselves or whatever. Like, and it's just, it's brutal. Like, it's worse. It's worse than it ever was. Like, you know, and the rural areas, and I'm not saying they're the only ones, but they get like a death in a rural area like that. It can destroy whole areas. Like, you know, like I know a few of them, but maybe I don't know. I don't live in a town. I know I would just assume that there's a bit more of a kind of a community feeling in general. It's a slightly more of a kind of a community based system in the rural areas, like, you know. And but anyways, we're heading into a recession now again. And here's another sad story. Those I'll stop with the sad stories after this. I'm gonna get a fire lit under me, and I'm gonna fucking start shouting and ranting and raving. You know. So during the recession last time, 2008, like, there was a farmer in Mayo, and he was broke, and he went out and he shot all the cattle and then himself. Like, and that's the severity of what we're looking at now. Like I said already, that the average suckler farmer's earning 24 grand a year. If they have a mortgage on them running like that, there's going to be a fucking disaster zone, like, because that, like, people can't, they're living fucking, like, and a lot of people do not, like, especially farmers, they don't have time for this crack. Like, they just want to do their job, get paid for it, and then fucking spend time at home. Like that's all they want. Like, but they're like ourselves now. I think they're getting to that way that we would rather be doing that too. Like, but we just can't because it's not working. Like, so hopefully we can get them to start thinking like we do and get on to the situation about it, because it's not going to get better. This recession, it's hard to know. I'm not an economist, like, but it looks like to me like 2008 never fixed itself, and we've basically there's been money printed that's not really doing much, like, and it's ending up moving, like, they're always on about trickle down economics or whatever, but it's moving up the way. Like, if you watch, like, it's constantly going back to the top, like, so, like, through markets and stuff like that. So it's like, Jesus, like, we're monopolized. A lot of things are monopolized, like, you know, and it's through mass media as well. A lot of it, like, through the power of marketing and all that, like. But yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what the big brains come up with for this one, because it's going to take a bit of marketeering genius, like, you know, for even ourselves to get people to realize there is an alternative, like. But it's going to be a long, hard slog of fucking nights with no sleep trying to get it pushed out there, like. So they're on about legalizing cannabis, of course, because they're all hippies. Full implementation of Dr. Scali's report and focusing on women's health, mental health, and drug treatment policy. Yeah, we'll see what to do. Like, I know nothing about women's health at all, like, but mental health and drug treatment policy, I'd kind of look into now and again. Like, you know, there'd be a lot of people I'd know would be involved in that kind of thing. So, yeah, there's a lot of things that should be done, and listening to the people that's doing them, I don't think it's going to be done, like, you know, what the people on the ground think is the best. But hopefully there's some improvement at least, like, until someone with a bit of a plan could get in there. But yeah, it's not too bright looking. But yeah, the Department of Media, Tourism, Arts, Culture, Sport and the Gaeltacht. Jesus, like, it's like they keep getting more and more ministers and longer briefs. Like, it's like, where are they getting these out of? On media, it will bring together all policy functions relating to broadcast media, print media, and online media into a single media division within a government department. That's like I don't know, like, that sounds like very true to me. Like, someone deciding what's true, like Irish government fact checkers. Like, that's just something that you'd keep you up at night. Like, it will establish a future of media commission to consider the future of print, broadcast and online media and report within 9 months. So probably a big bailout for the newspapers, another big chunk. I seen RTE's down 35% in profits since the lockdown. Like, you know, hopefully they go fucking belly up, but it looks like the government will probably end up plugging the gap this time next year. Yeah, Department of Higher Education, Innovation and Science, Simon Harris. You know, the other 18 COVIDs didn't get him, so I have no idea why he's there at all. Like, the Dara Calleary, the only person around the cabinet table that is west of the River Shannon. Like, Jesus, I couldn't believe that. It was unreal. Like we know we're forgot, but for fuck's sakes, like, you don't have to make it so obvious. Then again, it helps us, hopefully. Hopefully. It'll end up being a fucking shinner now, like, that ends up benefiting out of this the next time round, but oh God, like, we just got to keep plugging. As an example now, right, of how badly represented Donegal is in this government, like, just as one point, the Green Party in the Northwest, right, so Sligo, Leitrim and Donegal, out of 137,000 valid votes in the election, the Green Party got 3,450. So, yeah, that's it tells everything you need to know, really, like, because we have windmills going up all around the place around here. Like, every fucking hill is planned to get a windmill, like, and there's local areas of maybe 5 or 6 houses or whatever, and they're like, Jesus, no, they're going to court, like, you know, they're putting their shirts on the line to fucking try and stop this, because it's like, Jesus, like, they're just going to tar everything. Like, it's brutal. But Yeah, now with this government formation, Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael members apparently are jumping ship. They're on about leaving the party. So, Pater Tobin reckons he's going to get a couple of them, but I don't think he's going to get as many as he hopes. Like, I would imagine maybe one or two in Cavan will go to him because they have that other ex-Fianna Fáil girl that ran in the election. She done quite well. She got about, what, 4,000, maybe 5,000 votes. But unless they go with her, I don't think it mightn't be a big coup for him now, like after the media kind of bigging it up a bit. Marion Harkin, she stood up in the Dáil. She was on about her, her speech to the maiden speech to the government was regionalism is core to my political theory, she says. And then she voted for a government that had no ministers west of the Shannon. Yeah, she's like, even people on the ground are pissed with her. Like, people that helped her during her campaign are thinking, like, what a fucking bit of a bitch now. But anyways, the Healy Rays, they were kind of half decent as usual, like, but they're kind of supporting the government. He had a good one-liner about Killarney being the capital of the world, like, tourism capital of the world. But other than that, it was kind of unremarkable. But there was one. There was one TD, and I don't know who it was. I don't know if he was new or I just never seen him before. He was talking about Sinn Féin. Like, he just went on a rant about Sinn Féin during the speech. Like, he was like, "Where were ye? You disappeared whenever the lockdown happened. I know you were sick," pointing at Mary Lou. But he was disappeared. He was flew off the planet. He was dead, right? Like. And like, at least someone fucking said it to them, you know. So yeah, and look, I probably don't agree much with him, like, but I agree with him. Agreed with him on that. But I thought whatchamacallit down in Tipperary there, Marty, what's his name? Oh Jesus, the boy. Can't think of his name. Oh Jesus, he's the anti-abortion fella down in Tipperary, you know, Marty McGrath, that's his name. But I wouldn't agree with him on immigration and stuff like that. But Jesus, like, he was right about what he was saying. Like, he's Tipperary, so they're big into horse race and course and all that kind of crack, you know. And he's like, he's going to cripple us. Like, he just said it straight to the Green Party. And like, I would have spent a wee bit of time down around that end of the country, and people really are mad into their horse race and greyhounds, you know, anything like that at all. Like, it's like in Donegal, you got rallying and rallying in football, and then down in Tipperary it's like mad hurling horse racing, you know. Like, it's kind of cool. It's like two kind of branches of a separate culture even, you know. But yeah, there was after that prime time thing as well there last night, there was there was that one, I don't know, she had a real bit of a lisp. She was from Fingal against racism or whatever, and they invited her on to talk, but she done a video after that saying, like, you know, basically giving out that the far right were made to look good, and it's like, no, we are good, like, but, you know, you just weren't able to make us look bad. But she put out a video there, you know, like, basically talking a load of conspiracy theories again, like, because, you know, that's all they have, really. They were on about like the arson in Moville or Mohill or wherever the fuck it was, and the one in Martin Kenny's car, and it's like, they were like, oh, it's like, that's the time that he called well, basically everybody in fucking South Leitrim racist, like, but and got kicked out of his local pub. But like, at the same time, there was a lot of stuff going on around that area at that time, like, and I wouldn't you know, rule out the fact that it could have been just the leftists trying to drum this shit up for this exact purpose, like, you know, it couldn't be ruled out. And the guards, sure, for fuck's sakes, if they could, like, I don't know what about security or whatever, but I would assume that the fucking hotel would have had a bit of cameras about it, that they would have seen somebody, like, or where they went. But no, nothing. But the left will just use that as, like, phantom Nazis running around Leitrim at night, like. But yeah, she says as well that there are no uncontrolled immigration policies in Ireland. So at that stage, I just kind of went, right, her head is just pure mush, and just forgot about her. Like, I wouldn't bother with it anymore. Like they've run out of ideas at this stage if they're saying that. Like the Kurdish family, he's probably heard about them in Sligo there. The Iraqis that landed over here. There was supposed to be, I think, like 7 of them living in a house or something in Sligo town. But during the lockdown, they disappeared and decided to go on holiday back to Iraq. This time of year is meant to be lovely kind of thing. But yeah, they went over there and they came back. They went up to Belfast, flew to Turkey, then into their Kurdish area, whether it's in Iraq or Turkey, I don't know. Got COVID, came back here. Their kid got sick and they brought it up to the hospital and it started fucking, it was coughing and all this kind of stuff. And they were all like laughing at the doctors and stuff for wearing funny looking PPE and all. And then sure, I think 3 of them have it. And like one of them is a footballer. He was out training a couple of times recently with the some football team in Sligo, and there are barbers as well. They've 2 barber shops, and I'm told that they were going around doing people's hair, like the last while. So yeah, Sligo, you beaut, you absolute beaut. Like it's just comical. And then like everyone in my area anyway heard about this, and the next thing then Tony Holland today fucking said it on the TV. It was just like, oh Jesus, talk about a day late and a dollar short. Everyone knew this yesterday, or the day before even maybe. And there was Tony Holland decided to tell us today. It's like, wow, thanks you abject failure. Jesus, I'm not even going to go into Tony Holland. He deserves his own thread. He deserves his own fucking series of threads or streams even. But it's just a joke. Like a Kurdish family. Apparently, I'm told that there was fellas living in the house that shouldn't have been living in the house. So there was about 14 of them all in all. And I don't know if anybody knows who they are or if they've paperwork or anything like that. So that'll be don't take it as gospel, but if you hear it, don't be shocked. But I was watching one more thing I'm going to just mention before I probably sign off today. I might flick through the chat for a wee bit after actually and just see what the crack is. But what was I going to say? Oh yeah, Critiqued earlier. He put up a stream he did last night with Marcus de Bruyne, Dr. Marcus de Bruyne, and it's well worth watching. It's if you haven't watched it already, but he goes into the absolute disaster that the nursing homes hit. He's a doctor in a nursing home himself, and he was a member of the National Medical Council or whatever it's called, and he stepped down over it. So definitely look into that. But yeah, there's it's a crazy old fucking time. And Jesus, there's plenty to be talking about, really. But hopefully, and my Jesus, it's my mission, that any of them, Tony Holland, Simon Harris, Varadkar, any of them boys, they should never be allowed to lift their head without someone fucking telling them, look, remember what you did, because there's. I won't rob too much off Critique stream, but he basically, I'm paraphrasing them, they're too far in saying that we did well to back out, to say that there was a mistake, and it's just a playing a blinder. That's all they can do. Different variations of playing a blinder all the time. They cannot admit what they did, and they have to be made admit it because there's well over 1,000 dead, there's been battles in this country. The fucking not as many have died, Yeah, no one's. We knew it would be bad, but we didn't think that it would be nearly willfully fucking inept. It's just watch the stream. There was the National Party had the worker as well, the healthcare worker, talking with them a while back. And she described all this, and you could hear it affected her, But it's just absolutely, it was brutal, and I hope they're made pay in some way. Do you know, whether it's fucking just anything at all to make them admit that they done a bad job, like, because they can't be let away with that crack. But anyways, I suppose that'll be kind of the rough outline of it. But yeah, no, like I was just thinking I might change up how I'm doing this. Like I was thinking if people would prefer pre-made videos or something like that, leave a comment or whatever, or just might do little animations or something like that whenever or put up actual stuff on the screen, like, or whatever, because my internet's just absolutely muck, like, so I can't really stream. Like I'll be like, I don't know the name of it. It's like, whenever you're talking and it sounds like you're like shouting down a hall or something, it keeps doing that, like, or it sounds like you're shouting into a bottle or something on the stream. So whenever I put the camera on, so that's why I use just the sound, like. But if I could, if I put them up, you know, a pre-prepared video kind of thing, like, it might be better. It's a bit more work, like, but sure, fuck it. If I get time, hopefully I wouldn't be cutting back too much, because I know I haven't done a lot of streams now, like, but yeah, I try and make it a kind of a more regular thing, like, if I could get a bit of a system going. So if you have any suggestions or whatever, like, I think the StreamYard, they have it now that you can put up 5-minute videos from your phone. So that's actually really handy, like, in case I'm ever about town or whatever, like, if I see something going on, or so that'd be handy enough, like. But just for kind of maybe, or even like, what length of video do you think is, anything like that at all? Like, I might put up a fucking Twitter poll or something like that, or just to get an idea, like 15 minutes or an hour, like, it doesn't matter to me, like, I just kind of have to cut things up into blocks a bit more and kind of lay them out different, so. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, I can't really say much else. It's been kind of a rough enough while one, like, personally I'm all right. Like, I hope you're all keeping healthy and happy, like. But yeah, it's a bit of a mess, like, to be honest. But I suppose that's all I can say about it for this evening. But yeah, give Critique a watch there. Like, he done a couple of good streams. He done just look through them anyway. That Marcus de Bruyne one anyway. Don't miss that. Oh, that was brilliant. But shorter videos for the younger crowd. I could only do a long version and a short version or something. Or I don't know. I'll try and figure it out anyway, and let's see what the crack is anyway. But yeah. Like, I suppose that's pretty much it, and yeah, keep safe. Slán a bhaile.